being in this generation, I understood it very early that how important it is to have self-love. Because when you are at a place where you're constantly judged about your clothes, gender, way of smiling and whatnot, and having the feeling of not being enough because no one is satisfied anyhow, the very important thing is to learn that the only constant that you have is you and yourself. And let me tell you, it is very easy to say but 10x more difficult in the world where everyone's making you feel doubt yourself. It is not just about embracing your things which you are just good at, but also embracing your unedited, unfiltered side, the chaotic, the cluttered side, and falling in love with yourself. Also, it is very easy to believe that we have self-love, we love ourselves until we realize or pay attention to our self-talks, the criticism we give to ourselves, our habits, and then you'll realize that it is not as easy as you think, or you may feel it is impossible to love yourself with these flaws, or you're never gonna have that relationship with yourself, but until you decide to create one. First of all, hello, I'm Dishti and I'm here with a very my kind of a video, which is a chit chat video where I'm going to talk about self-love, which is easier to say but a lot more difficult to experience in this world where everyone is constantly pushing themselves out of their comfort zones and just doing what they never wanted to. I've literally wrote down everything because this is really my favorite topic. That's the first reason, and another reason is this is way more important than we think, and every person of any age at any point of his or her life, they really need to practice self-love. Because as we say, हम सब लोगों ने सुना है that अगर खुद से ही हम प्यार नहीं करेंगे तो हमसे कौन प्यार करेगा. And that's way too true. Because if we are not just accepting our flaws, then how will someone else will? So today I'll be talking about some habits which are very important to have in your daily life to have that feeling of self-love. Moving to the first one, which is dressing up for myself. And it is way too underrated, but I think it is very important that how you show up for yourself. It is very important to look presentable, and by looking presentable I don't mean that आप बाहर जा रहे हो, or you're going to colleges, offices, or you're going in a meeting, you're going to a relative, you're dressing up for that. No, it's not that. It is a kind of a tiny daily ritual you need to follow, taking care of your skin, dressing up for yourself, not just on the days when you're going out or when it is necessary, but also when you're at home and doing your daily chores. I feel your dressing, your appearance has the energy to make you feel positive, negative, to make you feel energetic or low. There's a vital role of our clothes, of our dressing in it. By doing such tiny rituals for yourself, you can really grow yourself. Okay, the second one is not making other people's problem my problem. We often do this in our close relationships, maybe with our parents, friends, or siblings. If there are fights, you're constantly being up on yourself that why did I do this, why did I do that, or thinking about it, that what went wrong, or just not having a good sleep schedule because of it. The best way to come out of that is first of all communicating, and if that problem is not yours, you know you're right, you know you were there, and you know it's not your fault. It is very, very important to just get yourself out of that, because being in that constant guilt will not help you at all. Another way to cope it is journaling. This is the best way, I feel, where you can journal your thoughts, your feelings, whatever you think about it, and just let your emotions flow so that you don't feel it stuck. You really need to understand what is your baggage to carry. If it's not, just throw it away. And also, just because someone's sharing their pain, it does not mean that you need to absorb it. Because what we do is listening to sad stories of people or listening to some emotional stories of people make us feel guilty, make us feel sad. But I feel that's not a cup of tea and we should not take it. It is very much okay to refuse to the things which your peace does not allow. Because doing those things, you're just trying to please another person and also destroying your inner peace and inner strength. The third one, and I think way too important, investing in health and fitness. I've read the thought that the journey of 1,000 miles begin with one step. And here I would love to add on my personal thing. I had this health problem maybe from last year or the end of last year, and I've been taking it so for granted, which really led to much more pain mentally also. But once you start working on it, maybe small steps, not a very big change you need to have, but the small steps can really bring a big change. Since I had a break last month, and that was a very self-realization month where I realized that health is very much important. There's nothing beyond your health. Your health is an investment, it is not an expense. Nothing feels good when your body and your mind feels off. So it is very, very important to take care of them. I have these patches on my face, and I got to know this was my fault. I was just taking my health so for granted because I had an allergy. I told like a year ago or so. I was just like, it's okay, theek ho jayega and all of that. I didn't pay attention to it, and it resulted in this. But a good news is that yes, from last month it's been great. I'm getting over that allergy, and I'll definitely tell you that what that allergy is and everything once I get cured. Maybe I hope that in 2 months, next 2 months, I'll definitely be cured from that, and then I'll tell you what that allergy was. That was my carelessness, and I'm working on it now. So it's very important to invest in your health and fitness. It is the highest form of self-love you can have. Okay, the fourth one, taking up space. I've always thought that being a good person meant not speaking, being silent, not expressing what you feel about that situation or a person, and just let that happen, whatever is happening. But realize this later that this is not being a kind person or a good person. It just means shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that does not really respect you. One of that example is making content despite of being judged but not thinking about log kya kahenge. Taking up space also means that you should know when you have to speak and when you have to be grounded. It basically means that you're doing your own things without budging. Okay, now fifth and the last thing, but this is also way too important, which is being firm on your boundaries. It is very, very important to have certain boundaries for everyone. You should not break your boundaries to just please someone or just because they are saying no. When you feel like doing it, it's very good. You feel like you do it. But if it does not matches your boundaries or it's like breaking your boundaries, you don't need to do that. And also not just for others. हमेशा ऐसा ही नहीं है कि दूसरों के लिए ही boundaries होनी चाहिए. आपकी खुद की भी कुछ boundaries होनी चाहिए for yourself. This is also very important. We make up the boundaries for other people, but we also do those things to other people, right? So this is also the thing that we should make our boundaries for other people and other people boundaries for ourselves. I hope it made sense. And yeah, I feel that was it for today's video. I hope that all of you work on yourself, love yourself, because you are the only constant that you're going to have with you throughout your life. And I know I'm also not master at all of these habits, or there are some days when I don't follow these, but these are the things which I have learned, and I really, really want you all to implement this. I also fail at some point, but I know how to restart. I know how to cope up with it, and yeah, try once to have that feeling of self-love. And I've been told this since I was very small, that there's no one for you until and unless you are there for yourself. Yes, it's a great feeling to have that love for yourself. I missed it past 1 or 2 years, but restarted it some months back, and I'm so grateful for it. And yeah, that was it for today's video. I really hope you learned something from this and it will help you throughout your life. And I'll really try to make more of these videos because I love doing the research on these topics and telling people about it because it is very helpful. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe the channel and like this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.